Hi. 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 Hi, hi. Hi, hi, hi. How's everybody? Surprise! We're doing a live. Hello, hello. How is everyone? How's everybody? We're going to give a few minutes. We are going to talk about the church wound tonight. We're going to talk about the church wound. That's what we're talking about. Hi, Chica. We are talking about the church wound tonight. I feel this so much to my heart. I've actually had a couple people over the past couple days ask me about this. So I thought, let's just do an impromptu, right? Because I'm going to have a lot more time to do some of these things now. So I was actually, I had three people in the past 3 days asked me about some of this stuff. And so I wanted to kind of go through some of the process for you guys. Hello. And talk to you guys about the church wound. And this is not, if you're just jumping in or when people come in, I'm okay with people who go to church. Like it doesn't bother me. I can find a message. I will go to church sometimes. My husband plays music at church. Like literally he plays music at church, at a recovery church. And so it's like for me, I feel like you can find a message anywhere. If you're truly spiritual and truly connected to universe, God, creator, source, whatever you choose to deem it, I feel like you can find a message anywhere, right? And that is, I can find it in music. I'm going to go through some stuff with you. So, you can find messages in music. You can find it, like I listen to some Christian music still just because I like the music, right? And so there's this big thing all over the place. Hey, Kathy. There's a big thing all over the place and always this huge contradiction of so many things. Like you always, right, everywhere you go, you have to pick a side. And I find that really hard just to pick a side because I tend to be the person that sees all sides. So it makes it really hard to be able to be told to choose a side whenever I usually understand both sides, right? And when you're talking about VeggieTales, right? When you are talking about, and this is me personally. This is I'll go through some of how I was raised and stuff like that. So for me, now that I'm a grown up and I can look at it, I feel like religion puts God, source, universe in a box, right? You're putting something that's so huge in this tiny box and saying this is the only way. And it's hang on a second. Can you shut my door for me? Perta, please. Thanks, baby boy. It literally puts God, source, universe in this teeny tiny box, right? This teeny tiny box. And when you think about how powerful religion says God is, universe, source, all those things, it's wild to think that you're putting limitations on this spirit, right? And so I'm just going to try to give you a couple different ways to kind of navigate through this. Because like I said, I've had a couple different people ask me. I was raised Southern Baptist. Okay, I was raised Southern Baptist. And I grew up in the church. When my mother got divorced, she made us go to church starting at about 8 years old. And I went to church and I didn't know any different. I didn't know any different. always been a strange child, having a lot of what I would say spiritual experiences and things like that. But nonetheless, when you're in the church, you don't know any different. And so as I got older, I joined the youth group, and guys, I wouldn't trade my youth group experiences, not for anything in the whole freaking world. Like, I loved the youth group. I loved church camp. I loved that community, right? But I love community. It was the best thing ever. I'm still friends with some of these people. Like, I just wouldn't change it, right? It got me through so much stuff. That being said, as I got older, I thought, you know what? I want to work with the youth girls. And my husband and I worked within the church. He played music, as he always does. With me, I was like, you know what? I want to teach the girls, the teenagers. I want to work with the teenagers. And I want to work with the girls. And we are going to do the bad girls of the Bible. Of course, that's what Kitty does, right? We're going to study the bad girls of the Bible. There's an actual book that talks about the bad girls of the Bible, and you learn about them. And so I taught about that, and then we did a different recipe each week. That's what I taught. And while I was teaching that, I also went to concerts and found out that was a huge no-no, at least in our church. They didn't want me going to concerts and doing those things, and teaching. And the reality is that I'm a real person, right? You can go to concerts, you can do all these things, but will you let the dogs out? Will you let the dogs out?
I heard you the first time.
Sorry, I thought Dad didn't. So, youth groups, church camp, sleepovers, lock-ins, I wouldn't change them for the world. Like, it got me through some really, really terrible things, right? Now, like I said, as I grew up, I decided I was going to teach bad girls of the Bible. I was going to find my way. And that was fine as long as I stayed within these boundaries, right? Everywhere I went my whole life, it was like, you can do it, yes, but stay within boundaries. And for me, I didn't want to have to stay in boundaries, right? And then I had my kids, and my kids were a pain in the ass. They just were. And my oldest, when he was 3, well, all the way up, like, he was really attached to me. And so he would go into church service with us, and he would roll underneath the pews and cause all kinds of a scene with us. And he would roll underneath the pews and cause all kinds of a scene. He would cause all kinds of a scene, and people would be like, he is the best birth control that there is in the whole world, right? And so anyway, we ultimately ended up leaving that church. That's the church I grew up in. And then we went on to a different church. I worked in the Mother's Day Out because I've always worked with kids, and I worked there, and I ended up teaching art in Sunday school for children. And so I did that. But the hard thing I had with that is that if I wanted a day off, then I had to schedule it in advance. And this is volunteer time, right? If I got sick or something like that. And I get they needed to be able to depend on people, but it just got to where it was too much for me to have to explain. Anyway, when we stepped away, I stepped away before anybody did, really, because I had the kids with me. But as I got older, I continued to really kind of make some sense of what I thought was right and what I thought was wrong. And, we usually go through these big, huge tribulations, and then that's where we end up kind of diving a little bit deeper into the spirituality part, or why are we here, right? Does everybody have those moments, like why are we here moments? Like, you hit rock bottom sometimes. Sometimes it's not quite that tragic, but not all of us are raised in families that aren't. Like, most of us, I won't say most, but a lot of us were raised in families that church was where you go, right? You're sad about something, go pray about it. Go pray about it. And I was like, that's just weird for me just to go pray about it. What if I want to, like, get off my ass and do something about it? And so I really started looking a little deeper. Do I think there's anything wrong with praying? No, but I do think the universe and God and all those things meet you halfway. I think that you have to put intention and you have to be willing to put the work into it. And I also think that you can pray for things that maybe the other person doesn't want. It's like when I see people are sick, or like my mother-in-law, she's sick and she probably won't be here another year. I don't know. And, am I going to pray for her to stay when she's in a lot of pain? Right? It's just a really weird concept to me now that I've changed and expanded a little bit. So I want to talk to you about the things that you struggle with, especially when you step away, say, from the church. My whole family is Christian, right? And I'm okay with it. My brothers, my mom, but my brothers are more the ones that are like Pottery Barn. Everything's happy. Cheerleader daughter. Everybody plays sports. It's so perfect. And then you have like me and my kids that are grown, and we walk in with tattoos, and you expect to hear like bad music playing in the background or something. And we're actually the biggest hearted people you'll ever meet. Again, there's that misconception, right? And so for me, I've heard a lot of different things, right? I've heard that, one, tattoos. Oh my God, tattoos. Why are you getting tattoos? Your body is a temple. Bitch, have you seen temples? Has anybody seen the Sistine Chapel? They're beautiful. I'm not saying I'm not beautiful without tattoos, but if I want to decorate it, I'm going to do it all day long. It's fine, right? It's fine. It's funny how body modification becomes okay for some things and not for others, right? It's just too much. It's too much to have to stay inside a tiny box for the sake of people thinking that they're correct, right? Temples have designs too, right? They're beautiful. And so I wanted to go through some of these things with you guys. I totally understand that whole part. I have, like I said, I have family that's like, oh God, you like crystals, you're going to go to hell because you worship crystals. And I'm like, you must not understand how worship works. I don't see a rock and think, oh my gosh, I worship you, right? That's not how it works. In the spiritual community, rocks, right? They have energy, right? They have energy. So let me get this right. God, who is so powerful, definitely didn't put energy in this rock. Is that it? Because I'm not worshiping the rock. I'm just wanting to make sure I'm understanding it, right? And so there's a lot of those things. And I tend to have a very easy connection with people, especially one of my old friends from my old place of employment. She was very much like, hey, this is not, she's very active Christian and totally fine. But then when it's like, so this is a rock, yes. Is this a rock? And God is big, right? So did he put energy into everything but this? That's, I guess, what I need to know. And she was like, oh, like, yeah, exactly. Hey, Joe. Hey, Angelica. So that's what I want to talk about tonight. Like I said, I've had a lot of people reach out to me and just say, hey, I don't know what to do. I was raised Christian very much. I can find a message anywhere. I can find it in the car on a song. I can go to church at any denomination and I will find the message that the universe wants me to hear, right? It's when we start making God small. And for the people who struggle with your family and friends coming at you, I want to go through some of these things that you can respond, and you can respond in an educated, calm way. And it's okay. You have a message for me? Oh no. I love you. I love you. So here are some things for you to talk about. So if you are struggling, and this is stuff for you personally first, and then I'm going to talk to you about things that you can say as you're discussing your beliefs, because your beliefs do not have to be the same as mine. It does not get in the way of us loving each other, of us being a good person, right? Everybody has different beliefs. And I always say, take what resonates with you and then leave the rest. Build your own, right? You're an adult. You're an adult. Sometimes adulthood is not all it's cracked up to be, but still, you can navigate through these waters. It is difficult, especially when you have people coming at you that are more religious than spiritual, but we're going to go through some of this. And if you guys have ideas or you want to jump in the box with me, let me know. So here's some ideas. One, when you're struggling and you're hurt, okay, when you're hurt because someone doesn't accept your beliefs or they see that you're changing, right? They see that you're changing. You're hurt because they don't see you. And honestly, you just want to be seen. It's not that you don't have to believe the same as them or they don't have to believe the same as you. You just want to be seen, right? You want to be seen, you want to be heard, and you want to be loved just because you're you, not because you have to believe the same as them, okay? So number one is acknowledge your pain, right? Acknowledge it. Acknowledge your pain, recognize and accept that you're hurt by the people not seeing you and your family, your friends. You may lose some friends. Acknowledge the pain, okay? It's okay to feel the way you do, right? You can take up for yourself all day long. It doesn't mean it's going to be pain-free. It doesn't. Acknowledge the pain, cry, scream, get upset, and then get over it. Okay. And I say that like it's easy. I know it's not easy. I've had a shit for the past couple months, right? I get it. But I'm just giving you, acknowledge your pain. You're hurt. Okay. You're hurt. Talk to someone you trust, right? Do you have someone that you can trust and that you can talk to? Okay. Share your experience with a trusted friend or a family member or someone who has similar beliefs as you so you can get a grounded perspective from your side and you're not being persuaded by feeling guilty, okay? You're not being gaslit by feeling like you're disappointing your family and you're feeling like you're doing wrong and now they're just not going to love you the same. Those are wounds, right? And those aren't the church wounds. Those are wounds that are there when you feel like you're disappointing the family and the people that love you, right? Join a support group. That's kind of like what Blend Your Spirit is, honestly. Educate yourself. Read books or articles about spiritual abuse, recovery to better understand what you're going through. Some people have had terrible things happen within the church, right? That's not saying all churches are bad. I'm telling you, most of my experience was really great. I just felt like it put God, universe, source in a box, and I'm not okay being put in a box, and I'm not okay with anyone hang on, I'm charging my phone here. One, I'm not okay with being put in a box. And if I'm made in the eyes or like God, then why in the hell would you put them in a box? Just a question. Journal your feelings. If you don't journal your feelings, at least think about your feelings, get an app on your phone and talk your feelings out. There is something special about being able to talk to someone or just openly talk about how you're feeling. Set boundaries. And this is easier said than done, and it's not going to all come at once. Maybe one of the boundaries is with this person, I'm not going to talk about my spiritual beliefs until I can talk about it from a non-emotional point of view. Create healthy boundaries with people or practices that are triggering and harmful to you. Okay? If this makes you feel guilty, if it makes you feel like you're doing something wrong, if it makes you feel like they're going to love you differently, this is not healthy. And that's a whole separate thing that you have to deal with on your own, is recognizing that the people who love you are putting this condition on you and you have to be a certain way to receive that love. Okay? It's not you. It is them. Okay? When you go and set boundaries, prepare to be the bad guy for a little bit because people think they can push over your boundary. Okay? Engage in self-care. Prioritize activities that nurture your mind, body, and your soul. Okay? It's okay. Feel those feelings. Feel those feelings. You can explore different spiritual practices and see which ones are right for you, right? I mean, let's be real. There is so much out there. You have to go with what feels right to you, right? Do you think that God, Spirit, Universe decided, you know what, there's only one way all these people need to follow, and it's this right here, written by all kinds of other people through third-hand experiences, and yep, that'll work. So much bigger than that. So much bigger than that. Reconnect with nature, spend time in nature, find peace and grounding. Practice mindfulness and meditation. The practices can help you stay present and reduce your anxiety. Do you have anxiety over doing something that might be wrong? How do you know it's wrong? When did we start believing it was wrong? As a baby, do you think we had a fear of, oh gosh, what if I play with this rock? No, it's taught. It's taught. Fear is fucking taught. Okay? Limit negative inputs. Avoid content or conversations that perpetuate your pain, your anger, your anxiety, and your fear. Okay? Forgive at your own pace, right? You're going to have some anger. You're going to have some resentment. You're going to also probably feel like you're going to be mad at yourself because, well, why would I think that? If that's true, well, what's true? I don't really know what's true, right? So you're going to go all over the place with it. Volunteer and help others. Help others can provide a sense of purpose and a community. If you're struggling, for me, the easiest thing is to talk about it. Talk about it openly. Talk about it with someone. You will find healing in talking about your truth. Okay, that's what I always tell people. Come live with me. Let me interview you, or come live and just co-host. Let's talk about your truth, right? You're going to find healing in it. You will. Yes. Being taught doubt is wrong. Absolutely. Absolutely. Find a new community. Look for a supportive community that aligns with your values and needs as you morph and change. Artistic expression, right? Artistic expression can be journaling. It can be painting. It could be painting your damn nails. It could be putting makeup on. It could be painting a giant mural. It could be so many things, right? Find a way to release that. Find a way to release it. Read inspirational stories. Find comfort and inspiration in stories of others who have overcome similar challenges, right? If you've gone to church and you've either moved away or hell, you could still be in the church and have these experiences. Give yourself time, right? Give yourself time. You don't have to figure it all out right now. You know it feels uncomfortable when you're sitting with this person and they're questioning you, right? They're questioning you and telling you you're going to go to this really terrible place, and because you believe something. And what's crazy is a lot of times we believe stuff that is very much right there in the Bible, and it's just parts that are skipped and no one likes to talk about. All right, so here's some tips on navigating conversations. Okay, these are some just ideas for you to keep in your mind, okay? I'll send some of these to Shelly, and she can post them within the group if you want, because this is a common topic. Don't feel like you're alone on this, okay? So navigating conversations with people who disagree with your spiritual practices are challenging. Here are some things you can say to foster an understanding and respect. Okay, because you don't want to tell them like, no, that's wrong. I mean, you can, but you're not going to do that, right? You don't want them to do that to you. Okay. Will they come down harder? Yes. But acknowledge their perspective. I understand that you have different beliefs and I respect your perspective. I understand that is what we were taught, but I think that it's so much bigger. I understand that that's what you think. But for me, I think that God, Spirit, Universe, Source is so much bigger than this little box that's put in. Right? Those are different things. I'm exploring and expanding so I can make a difference in this world by showing others that it's so much bigger. Okay? Share your feelings. My spiritual practice is actually very important to me. It helps me find peace and meaning in life, and it helps me heal. It's really hard for people to argue with that, right? If someone says to you something about it and you say, my spiritual practice is important to me, it helps me find peace and it helps me heal. Even if they say, well, you should go pray about it. I mean, say something that's not surface level, right? It's important to you. It helps you heal. It helps you find understanding in this world. Okay. Focus on common ground. Even though our beliefs are different, we both value things like love, kindness, respect, right? Spirituality. Rebel does paranormal, right? Crystals, rocks, doing good for others, volunteering, helping people heal. Can we agree we may believe different spirituality things, but we want to change the world and heal people? Focus on common ground. Try and turn the conversation on focusing on common ground. What is the idea of being mad at me because I do this? Right? Ask for respect. I appreciate your interest and concern, but I really want us to respect each other's spiritual paths. Explain your beliefs in a way that they may understand it. Hey guys, thank you for the gifts, Mistress of Meow. I love that name. This practice helps me feel more connected and centered. It's a choice that brings me comfort. It brings me comfort as I am on my journey. This doesn't mean this is what I'm going to always believe, but it's what makes me feel at peace right now. Never care what people think. There's an intuitive reason to look back. Yet. Set boundaries. I really prefer not to discuss the practices in detail because it makes you uncomfortable. Let's focus on something we can do together. Invite questions, right? A lot of times, fear is a huge thing to keep you in your box. A lot of times people are scared, right? It's stuff that they don't know about. So it's scared. So if you're curious, I'm happy to share more about my experiences, or if you're curious, I'll share with you why I am interested in this, right? But I also understand if it's something you're not interested in, but I'd love to share why, at least so you understand or, know why I'm interested in it. Emphasize on personal choice. Spirituality is a personal journey, and this path feels right. Yeah, I'm same. Highlight positive impact. My spiritual practice has had such a positive impact on my life. It's helped me be more compassionate, more grounded, and more understanding. It's helped me heal. Like, just because this is my spiritual practice now does not mean that's where I'm going to end. I'm just kind of looking to see what's there. Be honest. I don't expect you to understand or agree, but they are important to who I am, right? They're important to who I am. Stay true to yourself. My spiritual practice is a personal choice, and it's reflecting who I am. It's something I value deeply. If people love you, will they say some things that trigger you? Yes. But in the end, they will definitely say, oh, right? A lot of times the questioning and the condemning stuff comes from being scared and them not understanding. This, you have to understand they're a person that has been conditioned as well. Okay. And it'll help you to understand that they're a person that's been conditioned as well. They're just a person and they're trying to help you. Right? But this is what they've been taught too. Encourage respectful dialogue. Let's focus on a mutual thing. Rather than trying to change beliefs, let's focus on something else. Thanks for the gifts, guys. Okay, does that help you guys with some questions and some starting points and things like that? It is a hard thing because, you're not only battling the belief part of what's happening here. You're not only battling the belief part, you're also battling the inner child part. And you're battling that part of you that doesn't want to disappoint the people who love you. And so they're telling you something that's been taught to them as well. And you really don't want them to love you differently. You want them still to accept you. So it's like, what do I do? Right? All right. Hang on. All right, so I have more, don't worry. So that's just that part. So I wanted to also address some paranormal and some crystal questions that I've gotten. Within paranormal is this huge thing. In the churches, it's taught, and I'm going to talk about crystals too. In the churches, it's taught, that's evil. That's evil. Okay, so I thought it'd be really great for me to pull some scripture that talks about it. Does that sound good? I love having backup things when I am talking to other people who may believe differently than me, just to have just for fair conversation. Okay. I can open the Bible and find a message for myself any day of the week. So I do not discount the magic of books and songs and the Bible and things like that. Okay. There's a lot of witches that use the Bible as a magic book. Right? Hi, Cassidy. So I wanted to address some of these things, and some of them will mean something, some of them won't for you, but I just wanted to kind of go through here and give them to you. So in 1 Samuel, King Saul consults a medium to summon the spirit of prophet Samuel. King Saul consults a medium to summon the spirit of the prophet Samuel. There was a medium summoning a prophet. Did you know that? When the woman saw Samuel, she cried out to the top of her voice and said to Saul, "Why have you deceived me? You're Saul." The king said to her, "Don't be afraid. What do you see?" The woman said, "I see a ghostly figure coming up out of the earth." King Saul consulted a medium. And it's going to read a little different, right, in each version of the Bible. Okay? So there's one for you. Matthew 14, Jesus walks on water. Jesus walks on water, an event that defies the natural laws. No one thought this was weird. He walks on water. It defies the natural laws, just like mediumship, just like all divinatory things. Shortly before dawn, Jesus went out to them walking on the lake. When the disciples saw him walking on the lake, they were terrified. "Ghost," they said, and they cried out in fear. But Jesus immediately said, "Take courage, it is I. Don't be afraid." He defied what was considered normal. Jesus, in Luke 24, Jesus appears to his disciples after his resurrection. If we were made in his image, Jesus appears to his disciples after his resurrection. While they were still talking about this, Jesus himself stood among them and said, "Peace be with you." They were startled and frightened, thinking they saw a ghost. He said to them, "Why are you troubled? And why do doubts rise in your mind? Look at my hands and my feet. It is I myself. Touch me and see. A ghost does not have flesh and bones, as you see I have." Jesus appears to his disciples. While they were still talking about this, Jesus himself stood among them and said, "Peace be with you." They were startled and frightened, thinking they saw a ghost. He said to them, "Why are you troubled, and why do you have doubt rise in your minds? Look at my hands and feet. It is I myself. Touch me and see. A ghost does not have flesh and bones, as you see." When I see spirits, they do have flesh and bones when I'm looking at them most of the time. In Acts 16, Paul encounters a slave girl who has a spirit of divination. Once, when we were going to a place of prayer, we were met by a female slave who had a spirit of which she predicted the future. She earned a great deal of money for her owners by fortune telling. She followed Paul and the rest of us, shouting, "These men are servants of the Most High God, who are telling you the way to be saved." She kept this up for many days. Finally, Paul became so annoyed that he turned around and said to Spirit, "In the name of Jesus Christ, I command you to come out of her." And at that moment, a spirit left her. I'm not saying right or wrong. I'm just telling you what's in the Bible. if the paranormal was not real? Why would that have even happened? In Matthew 17, the transfiguration, Jesus is transfigured, and Moses and Elijah appear with him. After 6 days, Jesus took him with Peter, James, and John, the brother of James, and led him up to the most high mountain by themselves. There he was transfigured before him. His face shone like the sun, and his clothes became as white as light. Just then there appeared before them Moses and Elijah talking with Jesus. 1 Samuel. An evil spirit torments King Saul, and David plays the harp to soothe him. I'm going to read that again. An evil spirit torments King Saul, and David plays the harp to soothe him. Now the Spirit of the Lord had departed from Saul, and an evil spirit from the Lord tormented him. Saul's attendant said to him, "See, an evil spirit from God is tormenting you." "See, an evil spirit from God is tormenting you. Let our Lord command his servants here to search for someone who can play the lyre. He will then play the evil spirit from God away, and you will feel better." Do you guys like this? Does this help you guys struggling with this? Mark 5. Jesus encounters a man possessed by the legion. For Jesus said to him, "Come out of this man, you impure spirit." And then Jesus asked him, "What's your name?" "My name is Legion," he said, "for we are many." And he begged Jesus again and again not to send them out of the area. In Daniel 5, a disembodied hand writes a message on the wall. Well, that's weird. Suddenly, the fingers of a human hand appeared and wrote on the plaster of the wall near a lampstand in the royal palace. The king watched his hand as it wrote. His face turned pale. He was so frightened that his legs became weak and his knees were knocking. But paranormal's not real. Chica, that's why I wanted to do it. And there's so much more, and we can talk so much more about it. But it is one of those things that just because you have this information too, it's not going to be received well sometimes. But I love to give it for your own personal struggles, because you can believe this and still read the Bible. You can, and you can dive way deeper than anybody that's spiritual or Christians in the church sometimes, and you will find so much more. Do not let like just the surface level stuff bother you. Dig deeper, okay? In Revelations, John has a vision of the risen Christ while in spirit. Okay, John has a vision of Christ. But but mediumship's not real. That's always bad if you have stuff like that. It's of, not of God. But John has a vision of Christ. That's contradictory, right? It's contradictory. On the Lord's day, I was in spirit, and I heard him behind me, a loud voice like a trumpet that said, "Write on a scroll what you see and send it to the 7 churches." I turned around to see the voice that was speaking to me, and when I turned and saw 7 golden lampstands, and among the lampstands was someone like a son of man, dressed in a robe reaching down to his feet with a golden sash around his chest. In Acts, unusual miracles performed by Paul include healing through handkerchiefs and aprons. Would that be energetic healing? Is that what we would say? Is that a fair statement, guys? In Acts 19, unusual miracles performed by Paul, including healing through handkerchiefs and aprons. God did extraordinary miracles through Paul so that even his handkerchiefs and aprons had touched him, were taken to the sick, and their illnesses were cured. If you're just jumping in, we're trying to talk about the church wound and kind of give some insight to those who are struggling with it. just giving some ideas out there, right? Hands-on, yeah. So Paul can have that gift, but nobody else. These passages show that the Bible contains numerous accounts of supernatural and extraordinary events, which can be interpreted in various ways, including paranormal phenomena. Okay, ready to move on to crystals? Are you ready to move on to crystals? Yay! Okay, all right. So, crystals. We love crystals. What are the streets of heaven? What are the streets in heaven made of? Let's start there. Streets of heaven are made of what? I mean, it must be a pretty special stone if the streets of heaven are made out of gold, right? So in Exodus 28, the high priest's breastplate was adorned with 12 precious stones. Are you ready? In Exodus 28, the high priest's breastplate was adorned with 12 precious stones. But they're just rocks. You shouldn't use those. But why did the high priest use them if they're not important? And if they are important, then why aren't they talked about more? Okay. Then mount 4 rows of precious stones on it. The first row shall be carnelian, chrysolite, and beryl. The second row should be turquoise, lapis, lazuli, and emerald. The third row shall be jacinth, agate, and amethyst. The fourth row shall be topaz, onyx, and jasper. Mount them in gold filigree settings. Why? Why would they choose carnelian, which has the energy of helping you move forward and protection? Why would they use lapis lazuli, that's an empowerment, throat chakra clearing stone? In Revelations, the foundations of the New Jerusalem are described with various precious stones. The wall was made of jasper. The wall was made of jasper, and the city of pure gold, as pure as glass. The foundations of city walls were decorated with every kind of precious stone. The first foundation was jasper, the second sapphire, the third agate, the fourth emerald, the fifth onyx, the sixth ruby, the seventh chrysolite, the eighth beryl, the ninth topaz, the 10th turquoise, and the 11th jacinth, the 12th amethyst. The 12 gates were 12 pearls, each gate made of a single pearl. The great street of the city was gold. In Ezekiel, a lament for the king of Tyre describes him adorned with precious stones. You were in Eden, the garden of God. Every precious stone adorned you. Carnelian, chrysolite, emerald, topaz, onyx, jasper, lapis, turquoise, and beryl. Your setting and mountings were made of gold. On the day that you were created, all of these were prepared. In Isaiah, God promises to rebuild Jerusalem with precious stones. Why do you use stones? That's not right. That you're going to go to hell because you like stones. God promises to rebuild Jerusalem with precious stones. Afflicted city, lashed by storms and not comforted. I will rebuild you with stones of turquoise, your foundation with lapis, and I will make your battlements of rubies and your gates of sparkling jewels, and all your walls of precious stones. Job, wisdom is compared to precious stones. Ah, sheesh, what you saying? I bet you don't know what we're talking about. It cannot be bought with the gold or... You don't know, I promise. It can't be got with the gold, with precious onyx or lapis lazuli. Neither gold nor crystal can compare with it, nor can it be jewels of gold. Coral and jasper are not worthy of mention. The price of wisdom is beyond rubies. The topaz of Cush cannot compare with it. It cannot be bought with pure gold. So if it's really bad to have crystals and suspect that these have energy, why would they be mentioned in the Bible? So if you have people argue with you on it and tell you you're so terrible for loving herbs and loving crystals and all these different things, I'm just giving you, right, information that's there for you to do what you want with, okay? But understand that the universe is much bigger than anybody makes it out to be. God, spirit, source, universe, whatever. Like, it just is. And a lot of these rules that are made to keep you a certain way. Do I doubt that there's something bigger? No. Am I going to allow myself or the universe to be put in a box? No. There's so much we can do and so much change we can do on this planet, and God knows it needs it, right? So, all right. Wisdom is valued upon precious stones. She is more precious than rubies. Nothing you desire can compare to her. Why is she more precious than rubies? Nothing you desire can compare to her. Song of Solomon, the beloved is described with imagery of precious stones. His arms are rods of gold set with topaz. His body is like polished ivory decorated with lapis lazuli. First Chronicles, King David prepares precious stones for the temple. What? Why do you even like crystals? King David prepares precious stones for the temple. With all my resources I have provided for the temple of my God, gold for the gold work, silver for silver, bronze for bronze, iron for iron, wood for wood, as well as onyx for the setting, turquoise stones of various color, all kinds of fine stone and marble, all in large quantities. If they weren't familiar, like if you're if they weren't important, Revelation for the throne of God. The appearance of God's throne is described with precious stones. But stones, definitely, you can't like crystals, right? You're going to the dark place if you like them. But God's throne's made of them. So interesting. And the one who sat there had the appearance of jasper and ruby, a rainbow that shone like an emerald encircled the throne. Revelation, the radiance of New Jerusalem is compared to precious stone. It shone with the glory of God, and its brilliance was like that of a very precious jewel, like a jasper, clear as crystal. What you think? So, I wanted to jump on, and we can definitely do and talk more about this, okay? There is talk in the Bible of incense. There is so many different things in there. If you're struggling with parting from the church, when I say that, usually is the Christian church is what ends up happening. Don't feel like you can't still read your Bible. You can't do this thing. Like I could read any spiritual book and still get a message from the universe, right? That's just reality. If you're open spiritually and you're truly listening, you're going to be able to get a message anywhere. Okay? You are going to be able to get a message anywhere. Yeah, and Roman Catholic, they burn incense, for goodness sake. When they do exorcisms, they burn shit. Like, it's so contradictory, okay? So understand that when someone is coming at you because of your belief, it's because they were programmed and you're getting out, right? You're exploring and you're understanding. You're understanding there's so much more than what you've been taught. You can't come at me and say, I'm a bad person for liking crystals whenever God's throne is made of them, bitch, right? You just can't. It's so contradictory. And so, right. That's a great question, Rebel. It's a great question. If paranormal wasn't real, why would they need this? If paranormal wasn't real, how in the hell did Jesus appear to his disciples? Whether or not you believe in it, like if people are coming at you on that, right? Understand you can dig, but also understand that people will pick and choose which parts they discuss with you and which parts are real. Okay. And that's just across the board, right? Oh no, I fully get that too. And I have that. I always will tell people I'm not a medium all day long. All day long. But don't let your shadow work, I'm going to say. Right. He definitely should love everybody, and then everybody who follows him should do that too. Don't get caught up in these details of people only seeing what they want to see. Okay? Spirituality and your beliefs is so much bigger than all of the church boxes that everything's put in. Okay? There's so much more there. Don't get caught up in people coming at you for certain things, right? Some people will say, you can't have crystals. Okay, great. Then how comes God's throne is talked about in the Bible with crystals? Like, you just love each other, right? Just love each other and allow people to work through what they need to work through. I hope that some of these questions and some of this insight helped some of you guys that are struggling with that, because it's a very real thing, right? And if Kitty Lynn and Blend Your Spirit is about helping people find their authenticity, this is a huge thing about it, right? If we're going to help people find their authenticity, then we need to be able to live our authentic life as well. We need to grasp onto what we think is authentic. So I know someone who calls herself a Christian witch. Okay? I know a whole group of them, right? Because witch isn't necessarily a bad thing. What they think is this woman in a big black hat that's mean and nasty and has a wart on her nose and she's trying to do all these bad things. I'm a light worker. I'm a catalyst for change, right? I'm a vessel for the universe. I want people to know they're not alone. I want them to know they're loved, all those things, right? So you want to help people go through it. Yeah. And that's going to be your gift. That is going to be where your juicy spot is. Okay. Is going to be, you are going to be able to help other people who are struggling, other people who want to give up, other people who feel like they have no place to go, other people who are being pushed out as outcasts from their families and their churches. You are going to be able to help them with that, right? And tonight is just a starting point for you. You're going to have so much information, and let your soul be at peace, right? Let your soul be at peace. Maybe this is why you're in here right now, because you can, through your experiences and through the path and the things that are happening, can allow you to be grateful that this experience happened, because now you have something very specific that you can tune into and you can dive deeper into and help others who are being outcast from it, right? So I hope that helps you. I love you guys so much. Tomorrow's Goddess Night. I can't remember. I think it's at 7. We'll do Punch and we will talk about Demeter. So we will do that. And I love you guys. Well, we'll do scoops. I can't remember if I have that for tomorrow. I think I have it for next week. I can't remember, but we'll do those coming up. Tonight and tomorrow are the last nights for the I can't remember, for the raffle. So it's $5. You have 3 winners. It's going to be a $200 prize. It's going to be a $100 prize, I think, and a $50 prize. And there may be a couple others. So get them in, even if it's just $5. We'll do buy one, get one free on those tonight. If you want to do any more, let me know. Even if you don't win, it does go to a great cause. Everything goes directly to the retreat and helping someone who wouldn't be able to afford to be able, for me to be able to assist them to do that. So if that's something you want to do, it's $5. You can look on the things in the group, yada, yada, yada. Oh yeah, no, the retreat will be, it'll change your life. It really will. It changed mine and I was guiding it, but it will help you. So if it's something you want to do, look a little further into it. I am going to open it up to Blend Your Spirit tomorrow. So if it's something you want to do, I think I have 1 or 2 beds left. The rest are party loft. So just let me know. But we'll see you tomorrow, guys. Bye.